You're listening to Permission To, the podcast where we dive into the science and soul of owning your worthiness as a perfectly imperfect human being. I'm your host, Sam Dew, psychotherapist, positive psychology coach, mama to a beautiful 5-year-old Amelie, and passionate advocate for living an inspired life. My aim is to show you that you have full permission to own your worthiness so that you can embrace your true nature and begin walking boldly toward your dreams. Let's dive in. Hi beauties, I hope you are all doing so well. Welcome back to Permission To our next episode. Today's podcast episode, the idea actually came to me while I was driving in the car, and I'm curious how many of my beautiful listeners do the same. You know, I know a lot of you listen to the podcast in the car, but do you also just have those days where you're not listening to anything and maybe you just start reflecting? And yeah, sometimes I think because, you know, you're driving, so you're like physically focused on that, but sometimes your mind can be wandering and reflecting and things like that. Just sometimes I have like beautiful reflections in the car. So if you do the same, please let me know, because I love hearing from you and love hearing how your minds work as well. So anyway, today's episode is permission to ask yourself this question. Okay, and I'm going to give you the question straight away and then share how this came for me. So, what is my current season of expansion? I'd love for you to answer that question after you've listened to this episode, or even right now if you want to press pause and kind of journal on it. And then, if you want to send me your answer, I would really, really love to hear what it is. And the way that this question came up for me was, I was thinking as I was driving home, Frankie's 9 months old, and it's been such a delightful 9 months. And there has been so much expansion. The ways that I've experienced expansion over the last 9 months have been learning to navigate business alongside being a mum of 2. It's been a really big adjustment for me, going from being a mum of 1 to a mum of 2. But also giving myself more grace and more space, because I've needed a lot more this year. I've been working so much on my relationship with my business. I've realized that I have a bit of a tendency that if things don't go the way I had planned, or if they're not happening straight away, I have a tendency to kind of go, it's not working, you know, I need to change it, or I need to break that and redo this and all of that. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of like visualizing and talking to my relationship with my business and to my business. And I realized that my business needs me to trust her and trust the timing and the vision, and that it's okay to be patient. We don't have to rush everything. And so, yeah, patience, honoring the slowness of motherhood, trusting the timing of my business and life. Those are all ways that I've expanded. In other ways, and it feels a bit vulnerable to share this because I feel like this isn't shared very often. We only ever hear of business income going forward and increasing. But in all honesty, my business income, I don't think it's likely that it's going to be the same this year as it was last year. You know, and I've had a baby, so that's okay. But that can also happen for so many other reasons. Maybe you've had a health issue, or maybe you've decided that you want to change the way you structure your business, or maybe you're on a career break and you're really exploring your options right now. But I feel like it's almost like a little bit taboo to talk about that, which is why I was like, no, I'm going to be vulnerable and share it. And so I think, but the interesting thing is that I still really view myself and the way I've navigated this business this year as wildly successful, even though I haven't earned the same income that I usually would. And so I think expansion in time and freedom can be just as important as expansion in income and profit and things like that. But I think the reason that it feels vulnerable for me to share this is because we have all been so influenced by the patriarchy and by this idea. Like, when you think about expansion, what's the first thing that you think of? I think of, taking my business to the next level, getting a promotion at work, or getting getting your career progressing, hitting 6 figures, hitting 7 figures. I think this is a way that the idea of expanding is really sold to us in society and online. And I really want to change that narrative. And by the way, I'm not saying that money doesn't matter. And any woman who has a baby and manages to scale their business and earn more money, I want to celebrate them. I think that is fantastic. And that's what I originally had planned for this year. But then motherhood just made me feel like I wanted to actually slow down and have a more gentle year in so many ways. But I'm here to celebrate those women who are scaling their businesses, or who are getting promotions at work, and who are earning more money. But I also want to celebrate women who are expanding in other ways. And I just don't think that that's actually very normal. Like, I think that the conversation is always about money and doing more and having more and achieving more. And so this is really, I guess, an episode on permission to define your own success as well. What does success look like for you? And I want to acknowledge, like, I have a lot of privilege in being able to have the space this year to really enjoy Frankie and not focus as much on my business income. But also, what I truly believe is that sometimes when we slow down and it might feel like we're going backwards for a little while, I do think that that's going to propel me forward, and that next year will be bigger in so many ways, in what I'm offering, in finances, in abundance, all of those things. But I want to share with you the honesty of the different seasons of life. As a social worker, as a therapist, as a business owner, there's all different seasons, and we don't always have to be scaling and expanding to be successful. And so, I invite you to give yourself permission to explore what your current season of expansion means. And let's really honor and celebrate holistic expansion. So sometimes it might mean family first, that you're expanding into growing your family, or that your family needs you more and you're expanding your heart to give more. Sometimes it means going all in on your income, going, you know what, this year I am going to go all in and I'm going to prioritize income. I'm going to go for that promotion at work, or I'm going to scale my business. And that is a very exciting and abundant way to expand too. But sometimes it also means expanding into the relationship you have with yourself, honoring your worthiness, honoring that you're important enough to actually have a slow, gentle year and to prioritize your health. And I'm thinking about a few beautiful clients this year that have had almost like a gap year, or a year where they've really just gone back to the drawing board and thought about what they wanted to do this year, and given themselves permission to get creative. Your expansion is going to be entirely unique to you. And that's why this very, very simple episode came to me in my car while I was driving, and I was thinking about my own expansion. And so I invite you to answer this question. What is my current season of expansion? What does my current season of expansion look like? What does it mean to me to expand? And remember that it's okay for it to be unique and different to you. And one thing I know to be true is that often we have, these seasons of energy. And so for those of us in Australia, we're, coming into spring, and then it'll be summer. And I know that can give me so much energy and so many ideas and areas that I want to expand into. And then in winter, I tend to have a little bit less of a desire to expand and more of a desire just to, hermit away. And I guess that is expanding. It's expanding into that space in me and that nourishing me. But one thing I want you to consider is, how many areas of your life are you trying to expand in right now? Because I believe in holistic expansion and celebrating that you could expand in your relationship or your business or you're looking after your health. But I do find that it can be really potent to really declare one area of expansion as a priority. It doesn't mean that you start neglecting all the other areas of your life, but it's just really, really declaring what your current season is and really owning that. And let's celebrate that. Let's say thank you, patriarchy, but yet your view of expansion, of just being money and how hard I work and how traditionally successful I am, that's not the only way to expand. I think it's really, really brave to declare an area of expansion that could be a little bit different to that. So I would love to hear from you if you want to share your answer. But also, as you hopefully already know, I am in a season of another expansion. I am in the middle of launching Worthy to Expand, which is now a 6-week group coaching experience where we work together on really expanding your inner world, your sense of how you can embody your worthiness and how you can expand into whatever area of life it is that you want to expand more into. And so this offer includes 3 group coaching calls. We also do 3 Facebook Lives. And it's a really beautiful chance to be coached by me for 6 weeks in a shorter container, but by no means less potent than Permission Granted. Actually, I was really surprised last year by how impactful it was 4 weeks last year, now it's going to be 6 weeks, but just how potent those 4 weeks together were really blew me away. So if you have been wanting to work with me, if you've been wanting to connect with the amazing humans that I support and coach, because there is something really, really special about the humans that I attract, then this is a really beautiful opportunity for you to work with me. It'll be the last chance or the last program that I'll be running before Permission Granted in 2023. So it's a really, really beautiful chance to work with me. And I am very open to gentle discussions about Worthy to Expand. So if you are at all curious, but maybe you've got some questions or some concerns, or you're just not sure, feel free to send me a DM or an email, and I will have a honest conversation, non-pushy conversation with you. So that is it for today, my loves. I will be back with you next week. I hope you enjoyed this bonus launch episode. Mwah!